Gosh, Tenchi, I guess we'll see how this goes. Trying to set up things to really work with the funny YouTube, so we're gonna see how that goes. Let's check and make sure things are working. And it's working. That's good. Like to see that. So I guess what I gotta do now is figure out how to do those awful TCG challenges. We do have some anecdotes I should do, and the Bina commission. Final one, the 6, which I suppose is going to tell me today whether it... Oh, what? We instantly got sucked in. Hello. Hello, nice to meet you. Have not seen you before. Anch Katali. I like the Pikachu. I may have. I'm a little sleepy. Happy day. Good to see people. We're just doing the final Columbina commission. It's okay. It's good to see people. Oh, what are you looking at? Traveler, is that a Sheik Badger? What's he doing here all alone? He's looking for the damselette or the girl. My hot take is that the game is definitely having a little bit of an identity crisis. I don't think it's a coincidence that Notlan's shifted gears in a number of ways. I don't think it's a coincidence that they literally changed it to Song of the Welkin Moon for this version, and even dropped the numerical cycle. I'm doing alright. Are you thinking about coming back to roll for any specific character? But the main thing is just it's a target audience question. Because when the game first came out, it was the only AAA gacha, so to speak. It managed to basically capture the entire market for high-quality gacha, quote-unquote, and a lot of non-gacha players just because of its quality and, of course, COVID boost, which affected a lot of things. But what that meant is that it could appeal to a broad audience and still not worry about really alienating people, because where were they going to go? But now other games started coming out that targeted other audiences more specifically. You've got things like Enfield, you have, on one incredibly extreme end, you've got, say, Snowbreak. And then, on the other hand, you had, say, Love in Deep Space. And I've talked about this, and people think I'm schizo for saying it, but it's a publicly documented fact. But MiHoYo gave a massive loan, probably because Hoyo's CEO, well, Dawe is a personal friend of Paper Games, the make Love in Deep Space, and Infinity Nikki, is a personal friend. And they gave, essentially, a massive loan to Paper Games, which meant for the year of Notlan, they were invested in its success. In the success of a game they weren't directly making money out of, which is a hilarious unforced error. I wonder to what extent it was, again, a personal favor, to what extent it might have been a matter to maybe try to pick up Paper Games if they didn't go well and make their money back if it did. Some kind of gamble. But one way or another, it's not unreasonable to think the reason why the only male 5-star in the course of the Not1 patch cycle was Kinich was because they had literally given a massive loan to Paper Games and needed them to be successful. They were trying to farm their own female audience, or at least audience that likes male characters, out to another company for reasons that I can only begin to guess at. When Kinich got his rerun some months back, there was an animated trailer for him, and when I saw it, all I could think of is, yeah, they definitely intended to put this out originally in the first patch, like they did with Milani's, and then they said, oh, we need to last-minute switch strategy. Something a bit more schizo, a bit less backed, is that I also think that for similar reasons, Skirk was originally supposed to be Capitano, and they reused his kit style, especially considering that, if there was a character other than Mavica and Skirk who could feasibly be argued to use non-standard energy, it would honestly be him, frankly. But especially since he probably has some funny Abyss stuff going on with Conry and all. And, in the end, it's just... I like Skirk a lot. I'm glad we've got her. I would maybe prefer if they delayed her a bit so they could have given her an Abyss element instead of just Cryo. And maybe a kit that isn't just either a nuke or spamming normals. But I do like her. I liked her storyline. Her multiple soundtracks are absolute bangers. But I cannot scratch that nagging itch in my back of the head that says, yeah, If it were not for outside influences and factors, this would probably have better or worse been a Kapatana release and made more sense that way. But for better or worse, that means maybe he gets the funny abyss element. I don't know. But, and now they're rapidly pivoting. Flins was the anniversary character. He had a trailer which was basically asking the viewer on a date. It's just, okay, what are you trying to do? It feels like an identity crisis, especially at least in terms of target audience, and I like the game. In the end, I like it having broad appeal because as someone who likes having people watch me play the game, I'm invested in the game being popular and appealing to a broad audience, but I'm not going to pretend that everyone shares those tastes. Most people who aren't me, and I'm also weird because I actually like having a diverse cast, when most people are going to prefer that not be the case, or at least only prefer it in the sense of I get to choose, I can skip people to save for other people now instead of being drained on one side. But, as someone who actually doesn't really care that much about character gender, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I like most characters who come out, and I'll probably roll for pretty much anybody, because I like keeping up with endgame content and just growing my roster, and it gives me something to do in building characters. But I'm not going to pretend like that's everybody, and a game for everybody quickly becomes a game for nobody. I think they're also kind of making a gamble that, in maybe trying to bring it more to the middle, that games that really try to appeal really hard to one specific niche audience, are going to burn themselves out. Especially since I think they might have made a calculated gamble saying we can farm our female audience out to paper games for a year and then bring them back by being generous. Because paper games for years has had a pattern of, for a year they're nice, and then immediately they go hard in the paint on extracting hilarious amounts of whale money from their players. I think they might have figured, because it's verifiable fact at this point, it'll be a year and we'll get them all back. And also just, some months back, the Snowbreak devs, because their fan base, there was some girl they put out in the game who was like mildly bratty, and their fan base hated it so much that they literally held a life or death for Berry Boy vote on whether she would live or die, or at least continue in the game setting, which, they'll give you money, but and it's just not just a matter of creating content they like, but when you appeal to a very niche audience, very specific audience, you have to play triage and try very hard to keep them because there are so few of them. The risk and reward is incredibly high, and I think they might have figured it's just very interesting from a meta perspective. There are lots of games that are good, just plain good, but aren't that interesting to talk about as a result. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is an amazing game, but it's a no discourse game. All I can really talk about it, if I'm asked about it, is just, okay, this game is good. I played it, it's a 30 or so hour game, I enjoyed it, and that's it, the game's over. It honestly got a little more interesting when the Switch 2 DLC came out because it was kind of underwhelming. And now I can talk about that game, kinda, because its final boss was just a copy-paste of the original game's final boss. But in a weird, sort of perverse kind of way, I almost prefer games that are interesting to games that are good. At least if I have to choose between games that are good but not that interesting versus games that are not that good but are interesting. Of course, ideally you get a game that is both, and then you end up with Hollow Knight Silksong, Game of the Year 2025. And hopefully Metroid Prime 4, which we got more details about, and I'm also excited for. You could toss a few points my way and I could give a Metroid hot take if you wanted. Doing Hero Alone is you're looking for the Damselette, which in Japanese she's literally just called the girl, which is hilarious. Kind of seems like something scared him, Paul. Let's bring him inside with us. So if I had a Lauma, may the moonlight connect us. Enter the Silvermoon Hall. A small animal seems to be in trouble in the Silvermoon Hall. This should be the quest there. But what I'll say is that I think, as someone who really likes Metroid and really likes Souls, that Hollow Knight and Silksong especially is better at being a Souls game than Souls, and better at being a Metroid game than at least most Metroid games. Because I've played every Metroid game other than Other M. I may change that one day, I may not. I'm not especially tempted, especially since someone did a retranslation of its script, because the localization was a hack job. To be fair, the game was kind of clumsy in its scripting and storyline to begin with, but the localization did not do it any favors. And there are patches people have made to retranslate the script and add the Japanese voice track back in. If I played it, especially if I streamed it, I would definitely do it that way. Columbina. But 2D Metroid games, which I honestly prefer to the 3D Primes, they're speedrunning oriented games, and as a result are very short and don't really have time to stew and cook. Zenless Zone 0. Zenless Zone 0. Oh, she seems to be taking an afternoon nap. Guess we'll come back later. But Silksong, in contrast, has a consistent storyline and is a long game. It's just also 2D. You can speedrun it, but it's not really a speedrun-oriented game. ... exclamation. No, wait, don't go over there. Team Cherry is just lucky that their game is the right amount of broken, that there are exploits players can use and they can weave in and say, okay, this is good for the community. Ouch. She's gonna get eaten by this badger. Shouldn't we intervene? Oh, you slipped. Don't worry, I'm not hurt. Oh, you two are here as well. I really do wonder what they're going to do with her character, because she's not that interesting yet. There are 6 more of these missions. This is the last mission from 6.0's Columbina Reputation missions. Guess a moon goddess isn't immune to a few bumps and bruises, and to be fair, I haven't done her Archon Quest yet. I'm doing that tomorrow. But what I will say is that they're setting her up to have connections with all the characters in the region, because she's meant to essentially, her storyline, especially with her commissions, is basically meant to be getting her to care about the region, so she ends up siding with Nod-Krai instead of saying, I just want to go back to the moon at a pivotal moment, which is probably going to be Dottore related, because apparently Dottore is going to become the central villain for a while after initial Revere, but we'll see. I don't mind little critters bumping into me so long as the moon power emanating from them reflects no ill intent. And that is Finnish. Kuvaki is Finnish. For whatever reason, they decided to make this region based on Finland. Not necessarily bad, just a little unexpected. Did something happen? Why are you so afraid, little one? ... I see. I didn't know they were called cheek badgers. Oh, so you can understand these animals, too. The moon shines high over Nod-Krai. All animals that grow beneath the light of moon power can be considered familiars of the moon goddess, which is why Lauma has her special interactions with animals and can speak to them. That is relevant to one anecdote, and I do wonder if they'll ever add another character in the region who has that same passive, because we have Jahoda for Nefer's, a 4-star with Nefer's collection ability, and probably Ilga for Flins' whole Lightkeeper Lantern deal, though that's going to be much later on. The animal speech isn't really that relevant. I don't know if they'll add a 4-star for it. Especially since it is Frostmoon Scions related. We don't really have any other named characters in the Scions. So what did this little guy say? We might be getting a biologist character who may have something similar through scientific rather than magical means, but regardless. Name is Linnea, I believe, named after Cruellus Linnaeus, inventor of modern genetics. That monsters have appeared where he lives. He was looking for Lauma, but the monsters chased him to this area. Oh, no wonder he's so scared. Solka. Where should we take him? Back to Lauma, I think she'll know how to handle this. It's time to battle. But it is funny how she's basically an 8th Archon, but is, from all we can tell, probably just going to be Hydro. Alright, looks like it's another trip out for us since we're heading to the Frostmoon Scions. Make sure we hide extra good this time. I really do wonder, honestly, if they ever will add any new elements. Because 5+ years ago, when Dainsleif got his little character card, which is still only in the Chinese and Japanese Genshin Zitter accounts, his element was obscured. A small animal seems to be in trouble at the Silvermoon Hall. When he was quote-unquote playable with his little summon in the Archon Quest last patch cycle, he had all physical damage, but apparently in the files he's actually listed as Pyro now. So you have to wonder whether it's going to be another quote-unquote 7 shifting serpent deal where... Oh, I should change my team to like Commission's team or whatever. This is just my Sustainless Nefer team, which dies to a stiff breeze, which is very funny. Good idea. I'll ask Kunigunda to bring more fruit over later. She will need a rest over the next 2 days. But as I was saying, it makes you wonder whether they'll ever actually add any new elements and not just make Dainsley 7 Shifting Serpent Pyro because they didn't give Skirk a new element. But again, if I'm right and she was a relatively last minute addition, maybe. Especially since people have talked about the way that the game's structure works and said that more or less they can't really do things like add new elements except for an entirely new patch cycle, so we'll see. Oh, looks like Lauma's busy right now. Let's give her a moment. Also interesting to ask whether we'll end up getting a Lunar Traveler for the Nod-Krai cycle. I realized many years ago that the Moon Chanter is a figure of great importance to the Frostmoon Scions. Yeah, I wonder. Sometimes I think their task is even harder than that of a god. Yeah, they don't get to neat out like you. Okay, finally, she's got some free time. Let's... Vanamo, my lady, some of the defensive structures over here require your attention. Of course, I'll see to that right away. And off she goes again. She never gets a moment's rest, does she? Come on, let's follow them, but keep it quiet. It's probably going to be Columbina doing something to make her life easier, or... we'll see. Normally, this is the meeting place quest, which I still have not triggered. I'm not in any especial hurry, to be frank. I don't want to... oh, I was going to say we could do that puzzle, but not if we get stuck. This will do, thank you. Come night or day, may the moonlight connect us. Which, again, they changed it from may the moonlight bless you to the moonlight connect us because they're basically atheists now. They became Unitarian Universalists because they don't really care about the moon anymore. New spiritual movement. That saying has changed from when I last heard it. Exactly. They're no longer really worried about Columbina Damselette Girl Kutar coming back. The Freaktar. Hey, that person left. Come on, now's our chance. She's gonna get occupied again, right? Massiege, Lady Lauma. Yeah, exactly. Seriously. Da-da-da. Oh, she heard us. Thank you for your hard work. Excuse me for a moment. I will be back shortly. We take precedence, huh? Come on over. Talk to your god. Da-da-da. There was no one around. You can come out now. Wait, you knew we were here. Kizute nanoka? How could I possibly miss the Moon Maiden and her moon power? Although I'm not quite sure why you're following me, it's quite unnerving being observed at work like this. It's not that complicated. Oh, sorry about that. We wanted to ask you about something, but the time was never right. Hopefully we didn't stress you out too much. Badger. I hardly know her. I see, understood, I'll handle it. To be honest, after seeing how busy you are, Paman kind of feels bad asking you to do more work. Oh, it's nothing such as the duty of the Moon Chanter. Da-da-da. Now that you've seen all this, Moon Girl, what do you think of the Frostmoon Scions Kutar? Which is just basically Moon Goddess in Finnish. Da-da-da. The atmosphere is much changed from how it was several centuries ago. It's a good kind of change. As it means you could actually leave your cave and not be accosted, probably. I'm glad to hear it, and I thank you for your kind words. Give me your hand. You too, traveler? Oh, why? I like the current prayer you use around here. Come night or day, may the moonlight connect us. Again, I don't think it's coincidental that the entire deal with Ineffa's story quest, Archon Quest, which is the Nod-Krai Prelude, is all about her finding out, oh, I'm from Notlan. I'm basically a god in Notlan. And then deciding, no, I still want to live in Nod-Krai. It's very plain that what's going on with Columbina is meant to be that. Okay. Cloud-wrapped moon. Blanket of stars. Oh. Got the cloud-wrapped moon furnishing blueprint. We got the blanket of stars furnishing blueprint. I believe. Would have gotten something new, but we'll need to check. Let's go check on our Moon Chronicles. Oh, quest series unlocked. Interesting. Okay, so we don't actually need to progress to the next patch, next Archon Quest. It's just each patch cycle. Okay. Okay. And we got the From Here I Gaze, a vine-wrapped resting seat in the style of Silvermoon Hall. When night deepens and the sleepless find respite here, they need only look up to gaze at the eternal full moon in the sky. Come night or day, may the moonlight connect us, and it won't be until next Friday that I can do this one. That's gonna be the glider. I hardly know her. Okay. That's fun. It'd be interesting to see how things go, but we got a couple more here. Flins, our Lightkeeper, appears to be troubled by something. I am not going to cooperate with calling it Rodnik. It's literally just soldier anyway. Okay. We're gonna go for 2 of them. This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them. Huh. Oh, it's interesting seeing these spots being created by the lightning strikes. It's also very fun. Wonder to what extent a puzzle could be part of that, and Ineffa is here, but Ineffa is also here. Interesting. In Aino's house. Pairing this light post. Hello. Repairs complete. It was just an old circuit, nothing serious. Such remarkable efficiency, Ineffa-san. If it weren't for you, this streetlight would have had me stumped, because he does not know anything about mechanics. If it had proven beyond fixing, I may have had to take my own lantern and hang it in its place. Luckily, things didn't get to that point. You wouldn't have needed to go that far. Aino previously proposed a solution. She said she could train the Lightkeeper so they'd have the basic knowledge to perform simple tasks like repairing circuits. Yeah, in the Japanese, they only use Rodnik to refer to their superiors. There's a bit more distinction. That way you wouldn't need to inform Aino every time a streetlight goes out and then wait in the dark until I arrive to repair it. The Lightkeepers are responsible for fixing the lights. Well, it's in the name. Yes and no. Strictly speaking, maintaining the brightness of the lights has been their traditional role. Raito-kippa. Before the use of moon power became widespread, the streetlights were powered by regular oil. Back then, people were needed to light and extinguish the flames, and oh yeah, you can see there's blue because it's moon power. Because of how dangerous said streets were at night, the Lightkeepers took on this role. They already carried lanterns in any case and were adept at using them while fighting. Because at least some of them have wild hunt repelling powers. But as I'm sure you've already noticed, the current streetlights are powered by moon power, and it's not so easy to light or extinguish them using traditional means. Because of this, whenever a light goes out nowadays, all I can do is stand here helplessly and wait for a professional to come along and solve the problem. Why don't you let Aino give you some training? Have you not arranged to have classes? Unfortunately, he's lazy. Aino organized an engineering seminar, but all the Lightkeepers made excuses to leave halfway through. They said things like, I have an urgent task, or I need to go on patrol, or it's time for me to make a report. She is clearly not very happy about that. I didn't leave. It is, after all, disrespectful to the host to leave a seminar early. True, but the biscuits you brought were too much of a distraction for Aino. She stopped teaching completely. Cookie. And then I was so busy trying to stop her from eating the cookie that I could not take over the seminar. Very girl dad coded, people have said. So please, the next time you attend a class of any kind, don't bring anything sweet that might attract Aino's attention. Don't bring any toys either. I promise I won't. He'll find some other reason, or just not come at all. Please say it in full. The last time he promised not to bring any sweet, he brought a toy, and Aino was completely unable to continue. I promise I won't bring anything sweet, any toys, or anything else that might unduly divert Miss Aino's attention. That's better. I'll notify when she next holds an engineering class. For now, I have to pick some laka berries for her. Goodbye. She said white berry in the Japanese. Trevor, do you know of anything else besides sweet treats, toys, and small fluffy animals that might keep Miss Aino quiet for a while? Half an hour shall suffice. Think you'd be better off studying? Well, if you can't take any items, why not try bringing a companion instead? Besides, since you feel that way too, it seems I have no choice but submit myself to her baptism of erudition. So what we have said, because we would probably be that companion, I only hope I don't drown in the ocean of knowledge she wishes to impart. The Japanese, he said, pray. Okay. Someone. Hello. Someone requesting a guest appearance, potentially. Let me just check. And what was this achievement? The moon is bright tonight. Complete Selenic Chronicles Part 1. Let me see something real quick. Just see his anecdote. What would the other dialogue tree have been? Patrol collectibles. No. No. Ner. Out of one's depth. With yes. If you say the other one, a companion, oh, that's inspired. Perhaps I should ask Miss Ineffa. You can send Jahoda to accompany. Just didn't say it was me who gave you the idea. Actually, her. Naturally, the only reason I wish to ask Miss Jahoda to attend is that if I'm to swim in the great ocean of knowledge, I'd very much like someone else to enjoy Miss Aino's educational ablutions. Considering the strength of Jahoda's relationship with the two of you, I believe she would be the perfect candidate to go with me. So another instance of Jahoda being tortured. That is very, very funny. Only bad things ever happen to her. Rather unfortunate for her. Okay. So this is gonna be... Out of one's depth, you witness Flins watching Ineffa repair a street lamp. Seems like the Lightkeepers still have a lot to learn. So... I guess we can go over into Aino's house and see what's going on there. At the Quick Clank Krumkake Craftshop, Ineffa seems to be daydreaming. So this is going to be the third. I believe she has 5 in sequence. And to get the Krumkake recipe, you've got to go through a bunch. And if you don't have Lauma, you need to repeat the last one a bunch of times before it lets you through, I believe, which is interesting. I might be unduly counting Aino's as one of hers, though. Regardless. So let's see. Oh, but already being used by other... No, probably by the bed, right? Yeah, right here over by... Is that... That's Jahoda. What are you doing? Oh, and... Oh, the little flower from the Nod-Krai Archon Quest with Ineffa in it is here too. I wonder if that probably gets added by doing the quest, I would presume. Also, let's... Just to make that go away, I will not be doing that. I don't need this, and I have this. Given the Hexen Circle buffs coming, I do wonder if we're gonna get some kind of... I can just open this. That's a bolt. That's nice. Should use that. I think I can trade one of those in now. So we got one from... A couple from Ineffa and Aino. Oh, no, you need 4 to get the cosmetic for 1. Either Brigitte or the duck, so I'm 1 away. I'll need to actually do quests. Oops. Let's see what this is. Oops. 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 I'm sorry. Da-da-da. Oh, you can see her funny purpley robot vision. Ineffa. Is she asleep? Has her battery gone flat? Ski. Zenwa Zone 0. I'm sorry. That joke's already old. Why is Jahoda just standing there when she's asleep? She's not standing. She is lying down. Neteru noka. Hey, what's going on here? Paman feels like it's a bad idea for us to leave. Maybe we should ask Aino for help. Keyword detected. Meditative state suspended because we said Aino. Well, we give Paman a fright. Do robots need to meditate? She's special. No, however, it was Jahoda's request. She asked me for a detailed analysis of the steps required to meditate and to mentor her as she practiced relieving her stress. Jahoda's so stressed that she's got to meditate to cope with it all. So there's something troubling her to never assign her another job. Frustrating machinery. Let me see. Notably... Oh, I was going to check. Frostlated machinery does not mention the connected anecdotes on the wiki. Okay, I was wondering if it would say that. Because there's the Jahoda one and the Flins one for that. I've gotten the Jahoda one, but you have to actually spend resin in the domain. And I don't feel particularly inclined to do that. I'll do that later, maybe. But I wonder if they'll add any other characters to show up there later. I do not know how... Anecdote that requires resin is kind of crazy. If Jahoda said, because that circumscribes what you can spend it on, said she has been suffering from insomnia for a while and was willing to try any solution she could. First, I'll understand in my kitchen, close her eyes, and focus on the fragrance of Krumkakes. A little like a crepe. By stimulating her olfactory module, that's a nose, mind you. I believe there would be a decrease in activity in her cognitive module. Did it work? She is a prosthetic, but she's not a robot. It successfully stimulated her appetite. She consumed the finished Krumkakes with incredible efficiency. Unfortunately, she consumed too many and proved unable to sleep that night. That's normal, we're not robots like you after all. The more we smell food, the more we want to eat it. That is indeed true. Afterwards, I try to have her perform intense mental or physical exercises before bed. For example, cutting lumber, jogging, doing push-ups, boxing, and so on. Those are all physical, no mental. Her body should have been able to enter sleep mode more easily, following such sizable expenditures of energy, but I'm guessing it didn't work. She might have just used her mechanical arm. It did not. She finished half her exercises and realized she had an unfinished commission and so rushed off to complete it. Oh, goodness. She's next patch, too. After she returned, she crouched down in a corner, hugging her knees, and said, "Oh, I was so tired from all that training. My legs gave out while guiding my clients through the ruins. I basically crawled the whole way. If Ane-san, Big Sis Nefer finds out I'm dead meat." Neferu Ane-san? Yeah. Following this, she was once more unable to sleep. In the end, we decided to give meditation another try. And Aino's gonna get angry that she's sleeping in her bed. Neferu Ane-san? No, it wasn't me. Didn't steal your tea. Snore. She is a Sucrose Psi grade for Nod-Krai teams only at C6. Arguably still kind of a downgrade, actually. It's interesting, but she is an alternative in case someone else is using Sucrose, so... Seems like the meditation was pretty effective. Jahoda's fast asleep. She's starting to talk in her sleep, so it was because of Nefer all along. I do not think Jahoda's sleep is related to her meditation. First of all, the meditation steps I analyze are not suitable for her. The goal of meditation is to enter a deep state of tranquility, which can be used to enhance self-awareness. For an ordinary person, this deep state is close to dozing. For me, this would be closer to a willpower standby mode, where one cuts power to certain components. That said, were we to shut down some of Jahoda's components, I believe it would pose a threat to her personal safety. Please do not turn her quadriplegic. She's already lost one arm. So meditation wasn't supposed to work, but Jahoda fell asleep anyway. Could she have been so tired that she just passed out? Maybe the bed is just nice. In truth, I do not understand either. All I can do is tell you what happened before. When Jahoda lay down and tried to fall asleep through meditation, she suddenly said to me, "Don't run off too far or I might get ambushed in my sleep and then I'd be dead meat." I answered her, "Very well, I will remain here by your side." Oh, cute. I guess this is Yuri. After that, like I do with Aino every night, I held Jahoda's hand as she slept. After a while, she did indeed fall asleep. Dummy robot, this is something I did myself, snore. Bakana roboto. Oh, and that woke her up, huh? In any case, it's good that she's getting the rest she needs. Maybe we should let her sleep in peace. Yes, and if either need help sleeping, please consult me at any time. However, do note that I can only hold 2 hands at once. That's cute. So this is probably the source of some of this shitbait people have done. Oh, and by the way, I've leftover Krumkake Bolts from the batch I made earlier. Gave one to Jahoda, you can have the other. Oh, so this is how we got one of them. Nice. So now we actually do have enough for one of the... Oh, goodbye. I hope you have sweet dreams tonight. Nice. So that's a Krumkake Bolt. We actually have enough to cash one in now. Interesting. Okay. Ineffa meditation time. At the Quink Quink Krumkake Craftshop, you encounter a meditating Ineffa. It turns out she's trying to help Jahoda with her insomnia. However, Ineffa's meditation seems an awful lot like standby mode. Okay. Let's turn that in, I guess. Sure. Got 4 of those bolts. Should be, yeah, right here. A bolt engraved with the Krumkake Craftshop's logo. May serve some purpose there. Aino and Ineffa. Friendship 6. Certain number of times in anecdotes. Craftshop, I got one there, and it actually shows that location. One in the bureau and a world quest, and then the meeting point. So I honestly will do the one for Aino, because I don't think I'll need Ineffa for anything. Let me just check. Abyss 6.2 is Duran on one side and Varasa on the other. So... Yeah. It's Duran on one side, and I also wanted to be using a main DPS Venti. So we won't really need Ineffa for anything next patch. Give the Aino one, then. Companion detected. Duster mode preparation complete. Workshop stroke preparation complete. Do you wish to open it? Open the workshop stroke. Key match successful. Opening complete. Go for the Aino's toolbox. A toolbox stored in the workshop's trove. Tools. It contains a mysterious accessory. There we go. And now we can change the appearance of... Okay, that's just the bolts. Oh! Okay, what are you talking about? Level up. Click anywhere in the blank area to continue. Yeah, and now we get a funny heart emblem on the duck. Aino's toolbox empty. A toolbox that once held Aino's accessory. An accessory that has since been taken. Huh. So now, and that was not true before, we have, and there was a graphic for that. As you can see now, and it did not have it before, the duck has a little heart on it. That is quite fun. Okay. It's the Krumkake emblem. I'm sorry. Well, let's pick this up. Yeah. And you cannot change it back. She says, alright, upgrade complete. Time to treat myself to a tasty snack. And the empty one is completely useless. Yeah. Can't actually do anything there. And the duck, it just looks different. That's fun. And that, of course, is the equivalent to an exploration ability for them, because they don't really have one. Yeah. So she does not need help getting it back, but let's just give her burst back to her, in case I need to do anything. Pretty close. Okay. Not quite. Come on. We'll just run it another time. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we do have some plants with a mushroom icon. That's right. Stupid, stupid. Because it is still technically a multiplayer instance. Well, we do have some new cards to pick up here. The deck that I put together and have been using is a funny Yonsan Satwali Sayu deck, which is funky. It's a little multiplayer oriented. Last patch I put together Whale, Chaska, and Zucoatl, well, Gasoithoth, fake Zucoatl, which got specifically nerfed into the absolute ground this patch, right after I actually put it together, which was very funny in an unpleasant kind of way. So now I had to switch gears. To be fair, I do wonder if Varisa might not be a better replacement for Sayu in that team, but I guess we'll see. Also, let's pick up some of this. Quiet and cozy. Hazelwood Jadeback Chair, Factory Stool Multi-Role Seating Device, Friends for the Friction, that's probably Fatui stuff. Tavern Bed, not great, not terrible. Factory Broadcast Invigoration. Tavern Dartboard, Valid Throw. Factory Long Table, No Time to Waste. Tavern Square Table, Self-Defense. Indoor Long Table, Marks of Love. Indoor Rug, Soft and Plush. Indoor Rug, Starlit Night. Boat of Clouds. Tipsy Playlist. Multifunctional Pedunculate Oakwood Cat Tree. Deduction and Induction. Factory Cabinet, Slapjack Storage. Question with a Price Tag. Hidden Secrets. So some of those were Curatorium Secrets, which is pretty cool. Wonder when we're getting that Nod-Krai teapot. I still need to put together a Nalan teapot, really. We'll see about that one. Mannequin key. And then this point in time. Yeah, gotta go back here. Bought a nice amount of new furnishings. We've got a buffer enough that I think I can still, even after buying all those recipes, still get the weekly currency rewards. And oh my goodness, the camera's so silly when she's that small. So, we're going to use that funny deck we also have. See, right, we got to get these Everlasting Moonglow. Ones that incentivize high HP characters, which they added. Damage +2. Fell Dragon's Monocle. And this adventure mechanic is interesting. I'd like to figure out how to use it. And an actual attack buff on the Noblesse. And when you play it, you gain energy. That's the equivalent to energy recharge. Adventurer's Guild, adventure once. And then an ancient sacrifice of sacred brocade. Not less than 4. Which is to say 4 or more. Adventure twice. So basically, they're buffs you can set up. Adventure during the end phase, heal for 1 HP. It's interesting the kind of systems they can put together when this is not tied to money in any way. We want to prioritize golden skins. Fell dragon. Did I? No, they're just not all the same cost. Noblesse, and yeah. Prioritize the gold. Adventurers Guild. And then event cards. Yep, oh, we're slightly under. I'm sure people will put together strong decks using the adventure mechanic. Have they added that yet? Or am I getting confused because of weeks? I know that one of them is... I guess I'll have to try it myself, unfortunately. Probably on my own time. One of them is the Tower of Ipsissimus. I think that's getting added next patch. And it gives you the ability to get the Sword of Narcissan Groits and then deal... It basically becomes a hilariously overpowered weapon card you can equip once you've obtained it. It's interesting. Yeah, this is what we came to do. I wonder what else I could do. Depending on how long this takes. These ones are not that difficult. The hard challenges are the ones where it's not a wave challenge and you have to set the difficulty to get that platinum. It becomes painful. Charge attack. Omnidian card. This could be something done well with Animo spam. A lot of these could be done well with Animo spam. Yeah. Is anything with slimes? Summons people of the springs. And of course the best summons are really Fischl and then Rodea. And when you've got enemies with immunity to Hydro and Electro, that kind of stops being an option. We will just get the Tulper. Hydrotulpa's Desires. Secret of the Hydrotulpa Baobab. Meow, there's a story from Fontaine and a place where countless waters converge. Creature with the rudimentary form of a human was born, then it kept splitting and coming together again, as if it was driven by an endless insatiable desire. Hilitral Reserve and Flow Convergence. Let me see. And it turns you into a duration 2. Interesting. Immune to hydro damage. Does not talk about having immunity to freeze. Well, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. It's a decent deck, but it also likes to swirl, so we'll see how well it's actually suited to this fight. It's really more a... Oh, goodness. Oh, wait, and... Oh, interesting. They actually got Rodea there, too. One random Hilitral summon. This is actually multiple. They're starting to make these a little bit harder. Usually they're just solo fights or duo fights against 2 of them. But I suppose it wouldn't really make sense for there to be 2 Tulpas. Because since it did originate from Narcissan Groits, kind of has to just be 1. Regardless. Yeah, this isn't too crazy. Okay. I put that on you. This is going to be 1 efficient switch. Maybe you'll efficiently switch. Okay, I would like to use these up, actually. We don't need Paradise, and it would be nice to fuel Liben a little. And yeah, there are actually two. We can swirl them. But, oh, only when it's actively attached will it turn them into a... I see. Will it turn them into a hydro-elemental life form? So we're actually good to go. Huh. Okay. We should try to draw a bunch of cards, probably. Should try to keep one, maybe. We'll see how many. Oh, we'll need to do some finagling. I don't like that. It's a free switch. It's going to take 2. The way the math is going to be good enough. Okay. Now we can do some switching around. This card is completely useless for anything other than tuning, so we'll let it do that. Okay. Put that down on you. Yeah, and they're using up the crowd of freeze, so it's not a huge problem, actually. Don't actually worry about that. For one of your summons, that would be good for Tulpa. Yeah, that one wave challenge is really meant to be Tulpa Shill, which is just funny to think about, really. Ooh. Junbi Kantanyo. What can we afford to throw away? Honestly, it's this. And holy crap. There we go. If I'm taken down, I guess I'm taken down. Gonna go for a surge. It'll hurt a little, but I do have a shield. This is honestly overkill. We're gonna get frozen a little bit, and yeah. Take a bit of damage. The main thing is just making sure Yansun doesn't get killed. I don't think they really could kill her, to be honest. Liben did not proc, but this should be enough to just take them down entirely. Especially if we... It's not quite a kill, but if we give you this funny sword... There we are, we've used our Arcane Legend, and now we're good to go. Isn't that nice? And that just ends it. That was 3 rounds. Wow. There we are. Yeah, but just fighting against it and understanding the fact that it's also very funny that as something that can make summons fire early makes it very plainly intended to be used with something like People of the Springs, and it is Hydro, but it's not actually not one People of the Springs, though, given that there isn't even a People of the Springs boss. There's Milani and no other relevant People of the Springs characters of any meaningful combat proficiency. So... we have just enough. Varisa and Aoife want to play cards. Of course, I'm so happy you asked. Just let me do 100 push-ups real fast to get in the zone. Varisa's deck is built around switching and unleashing plunging attacks. Switch flexibly and use consecutive plunging attacks to deal massive damage. She is used with Yansun. There is that synergy from the efficient switch. She got Borger. Actually, it's just Sandwich, but used as a plunging attack. White Soul's Blessing applies Apex Drive. Prepare skill was used right there. Interesting. It's not actually used as the burst. Can directly add the Apex Drive after she's switched in. So she's intended to do a lot of switching to keep Yansun's Night Soul up. As, of course, that's how her buff works. Interesting. Okay. This is mistranslated. This is talking about her gameplay, not ours. We don't have to use Varsa against her. We can't even use Varsa until we've beaten her. Yeah. A game of cards, sure, why not? Most of my time is spent training, so I don't get a lot of practice, but I'll give it my all. Ganbatte miru ne. Watch me do my best. Okay. I do wonder, yeah, if there's anything that really uses that adventure mechanic. We'll see. It's decent. These are all decent ones to put together. I probably don't want to put Gilded on until we actually put Sayu in, so we can make the most use of the Animo dice it gives us. We'll see. That is quite good. Can't use it twice, unfortunately, but that's fine. The Yansan on Yansan fight. There you go. Well, to be fair, what would allow me to make best use of the cards I've got in hand? And the dice I have, because I don't have Liban right now. And of course, that forces a switch. Set an onrush. Switches are back in for free. Very interesting. It's the efficient switch. Curious. Definitely want to put this on Satlali. Get that shield off. A little cheaper and for free. And yeah, we're just going to use this exactly. Otherwise, those are going to go to waste. But we definitely want that on her. So you can spread her damage around and absolutely just murder anything below 6 HP. Okay. And now... yeah, we're going to want to play that in a minute. One Arcane Legend. Be a bit of a waste to play that, because kind of waste the Arcane Legends use, so we can use that to tune. Do have just enough, which is exciting. There we are. Have an efficient switch, which means we'll be able to efficiently switch. Already got the Apex Drive. Well, there you go. You're gonna prep your Volcano Kablam, aren't you? Well, whatever. And that is quite strong. So you can hit Satwali a bit and accumulate some damage. It's not a huge deal. Do this for real. Yeah, sure. I don't care that much. Shield is back up. I guess there wouldn't be anything much better then, but it's every 2. So to make use of this and also make sure that we're not spreading the damage around a little to make sure characters don't die too much. I guess we'll see. Well, here we are. Put it on you. It's a Zhongling. Well, whatever. Oh, and that's definitely meant to... I don't know if the AI is smart enough to try to prevent me from actually getting Element up. I don't like that. It may have been. To what extent can it really take into account the character that I'm using? It's hard to say. Well, we'll see. We're going to want to do a good amount of switching around regardless. But to be fair, if you switch, we will be able to punish hard and swirl whatever we hit. Tough to say. We can play this to get gilded on you entirely for free. Isn't that nice? Cool. Now everyone is going to take kill you levels of damage. Okay. Okay. I mean, you're dead now. Alright. Yachatta. Doshio. And that's how much? 3 times per round. This is going to prepare skill and just kill Varisa. Okay. Okay. No, this is crazy, crazy. It's honestly a decent amount better than Bennett. But of course, it's limited in procs and encourages a prepare skill-oriented or switch-oriented playstyle. So more situational, but arguably better if used right. 1 energy. Elemental bursts. Deal +1 damage. That might be a little silly. Well, that prepares the Volcano Kablam. It does gain energy. It's a fast action too. Hard to say. Well, whatever. I guess Varsa's kit sounds complicated, but it's easy in practice. I'm sure it'll make a lot of sense if I tried to put a team together with her and presumably Yansa. So I was. Guess I didn't eat enough early after. Should have grabbed a few extra steaks. Molto steak. Okay. No, it's going to be Aoife. You want to play? Sure. I was just about to take a break anyway. Just listen to yourself. Aoife's deck is centered on healing and triggering Swirl, putting him in a strong position during extended combat. And it does. It's a technique. Healing and Animo for swirling. Or electrocharged and healing. Could work well with Furina, maybe. I do wonder how best he'd work. And of course, since they have an added aura, they have to put him with women. Must feel bad for a gay man. Cards? Sure thing, bro. I'm pretty good at this sort of game. Kill it, bro. Sugoi za kyodai. Great, bro. Basically. It kind of does translate to bro, I guess. But it is more than a little silly. Okay, let's see how this one goes. Last one was an absolute trounce. I really don't like that starting hand. Okay. Let's try that again. We could always get Liban, maybe. This is decent for what it is. I don't dislike this. Put that on Yansan to get more up. Despite being a healer, he also doesn't have any additional durability. Probably because he's supposed to be a good healer who doesn't need it, but we'll see. And got a generous amount of Electro, not enough for 2 skills, but still quite nice. Okay. We are just going to spread a little bit of Electro. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I do want to do the heated battle mode, which is going to be the auto battle. It does mean if, and I don't imagine they would take the Yimkasor King away, but the best way to do it is literally just doubles and stacking the power of the Yimkasor King, so we'll see how that goes. You need to hit me so I can... Oh, that's right, you didn't actually damage me at all. Was that deliberate? Because that meant that didn't proc at all. So that's kind of a waste. Holy crap. Oops. Put a bunch of cards down and did nothing. Huh. Okay. Let's... So all we're... Yeah, it's decent. It's actually very good. So we are gonna... Of course. So we don't get to spread the Electro out. This... Is the AI being smarter, or... I can't tell or say. Well, one way or another... We can actually take him out entirely. Satwali killing Aoife. She was not grateful for the vegetables. Oh well. Yeah, and that's 1 down immediately. Her shield proc skill is surprisingly strong. Especially if you trigger reaction, get the extra proc. But one way or another. Well, that's... because otherwise there's nothing to do with it. I guess we can put Timaeus down. But still... still won't be enough. We need to save that. We need to save that thing. We will be able to get it for free. That's interesting. But it's going to be a reactionless Sayo. We don't have any element to spread. Huh. Nobody's doing any kind of self-application. We will be able to apply both of those, but even still. The only thing I can maybe think is just, well, it won't work that well, because it'll take Yansan out of Night Soul's blessing, and we don't want that. I mean, we can just do a reactionless Sayu. It would be silly. But her damage, even without, is just that good. Regardless. Okay. Kore wa oshioki yo. This is punishment. So she says. Put that on you, and this should be enough to just kill you all. Human, you killed us all. If we played this, wouldn't be... we'll see. It won't be enough to get that through, but we'll see. Well, that's useless because we're not going to be triggering any swirls. And that soothing... oh, that's wonderful. Not that it'll be that important, but still. Okay. We just have enough damage now. To totally kill you. Yep. It is funny that in the actual game, Gravestone is actually pretty decent on Sayu. Just because she can use its attack buff on the team without having to worry too much about the fact that its Gravestone is kind of a sucky weapon, because it... well, I don't know. Varka does use it, so it's interesting to think, though that would maybe imply he's going to be standard banner. Though that said, given that Venti has technically had 3 signatures at this point, he's getting a 3rd next patch for an on-field DPS build, which is very funny. Not my lucky day, huh? Maybe I'll get Kokuku to draw the cards in the next round. He could get a limited signature and maybe have a kit that also makes some use of wolves, or just have it in cutscenes and not actually the kit that makes use of it, but it would have to be a matter of a character who can't and doesn't want to use Bennett for some reason. Because the whole deal is that percentage attack is not that great to begin with, because Wolf's Greystone is all base attack, high percentage attack on its substat, so it means that the attack percent you get from artifacts, which scales off of your total base attack, is not as strong. It's not as good as a weapon with high base attack and an attack substat, or even a crit substat, ideally. And then you go and... oh, goodness. It would be difficult. So who we got? The Yumkasor King is here. And honestly, well, they added Sethos, and Sethos is strong. 2 times the energy consumed. Lowest HP, so that's targeting. It's tough to say. Well, he got a... it's really hard to give him energy, though. He seems like a nightmare to build. He'd absolutely shred, but you would have to invest heavily in him to get him to work at all. That could be funny as something to do, though, actually. That's doing physical, not electro, though. We'll see if he comes along, but it... just any electro in the Yumkasor King is what we want to see. Dorian Yumkasor is what I used last time, and no. The only way to actually make this work worth a damn is to either get 2 constipated beasts or immediately just... Oh, well, okay. This ain't that good because we have to get more, but okay. Stupid. Want that chef training, but we need to start with Yumkasor King and an Electra, and that is how I am going to actually get to 7 victories. But I can't just reshuffle, I have to actively give up. Oh, look! They did not want to waste our time this time, and I am thankful. This is what I did last time, and there is no reason for me to do anything different. Noblesse. That ain't that good. I just don't want any other characters. I really don't. Let's rank up Dory. Max HP, Elemental Mastery. 2 random cards from your hand. That's not that good. She can be there that way. If energy is full, extra action +1 once per round. We really want that chef training. I mean, it's just, we can do stuff like that later. We can just level her up for now. Sure. It's going to be a very strong Dory specifically. But sure. We got EM and we got Quicken. And I'm okay with that. And oops. Oops. Oh lord. Oh lord. Whee! Ouch. If we can, it would probably be good to do HP. Probably be good to do HP. Yeah. Maybe things have changed from last time. Stormstream. From Mondstadt. Character level of 2. 1 character with a character level of 3. Energy will be filled. Huh? Huh? I guess. Let's refresh that, actually. Oh, that's good. Huh. Star signs are a random food card. It's darn good, too. Tenacity. Guess we'll go with star signs, actually. Could rank up Dory. This is really good, and we can just put it on the Yumkasor King and just absolutely nuke somebody. Yeah, there you go. That's an energy. And this means just getting that nuke off. Yeah. Can we just kill you? Almost. Well, that's nice. Ouch. Getting very close to strength. We're going to have to not die at all, but I guess we'll see. Ouch, ouch. The problem is that when I'm Ayato instead of a Lynette. Pretty much all these seem to be you lose 2 times to get a bit overpowered, and then, yeah. I would really like to see that on the Yumkasor King. I guess we have to rank up Dory. Actually, I can just play that on you. Sure. Nice. We are going to devote everything to making you stronger. We also need to level you, really. Okay. But it's the chef training. Defeated. Sure. This should allow you to stay on the field a little bit longer. The fact that it wasn't you getting buffed certainly hurts some things. So, Odoria. And now you're just going to die. And that's how that goes. Alright. This is just spamming. your abilities, which I'm more than fine with. Ouch. Time to blow you up, and yeah, it's online. Death Grips is online. Should be able to hopefully sweep the field. Okay. Of Dendrocore. We don't charge. Sure. That's a good one. I guess we can go for the chicken. But yeah, we need that rank up now. Need that badly. Weapons training. Why not just HP? Okay. I guess they're not giving us that chef training. But yup, we now have the ability to just totally stack. Okay. The ability to just kill things is now very good. There is no reason to feed anyone but the king. The fact that it's spread out a bit will maybe hurt things a little. But it's real nice to be able to totally eliminate a character right off the bat. Certainly hurts. Okay. Alright. Okay. Definitely want to get Dory's Burst up for the healing, probably. And, oh, okay. Ouch. Ouch. I mean, that didn't do much damage, but still. Okay. It's damage, and no, there's our Dendrocore. That's good. Oh, that's the problem. Oh, you got the stupid. We need the Dory, but we need to be able to upgrade the king, which is really, really tough. Okay. All right. Oh, good God. Well, that sucked. Got the Dory, and then we got screwed over by it's gotta be HP. There is really no reason to invest in anything other than HP, and we totally wasted the God roll. It's so sad. Well, whatever. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Is this stupid? It's very stupid, but okay. And that chef training's great. Just a Dory, Yumkasaur chef training is the God roll. That's the God roll. It is the God roll. Okay. The only thing that can beat it is itself. Or maybe just a really strong Constipated Beast deck, but energy is good. Energy is very good. But you have to get over the hump of having... Okay. Because in the end, a 2-card deck is the best. But you can't get that together, you're in trouble. Because you need to get past the tough initial stages where it's actually not good. And where other teams may be able to blitz you down. And we just need to invest heavily in HP. Because the king was able to fire off hilarious numbers of just big shots, but if you can't survive, it doesn't help you much. Got Dory, we did not get the king. It's just, this is all it is. It's not fun, it's not... Also, the Constipated Beasts have a bit of a ceiling in that can only have so many of their Bone Crunchers blocks in a deck. You can't actually keep stacking them forever, so they've got a cap on that. Which is also unpleasant. We had the God roll. We had the God roll. 2 stacks of plunging attack to your active character. Animo plunging attack. It isn't really saying much about what that's doing in practice. But you could probably make a Zhao Albedo team work, maybe. The Yunkusor King is still busted. I just can't think of much else to use. If I can run something, anything really, it's really more getting the Yunkusor King and then just picking the best option to put along with it. It can proc its own danger reactions even, which is crazy. And its burst is just that strong. Oh lord, we got the god roll and wasted it. We got the god roll and wasted it. That's so sad. Also, I'm pretty sure I totally gambled and lost on that tandoori chicken, which is... I should have picked the one that was just a guaranteed 2. Because I am pretty sure that I gambled and totally lost. Alright. Please give me something good. We could be really silly. We could be really silly. This might work better, actually. Maybe. Just go for the nuke. Honestly. Sure. We'll rank you up. And the initial energy is pretty darn hard to beat. Yeah. We'll rank you up too. And it's chef training. Just gotta stack HP. We're just gonna see how well you work. Just gonna see about that. The initial energy should be strong. Hikanaka. And you're gonna hurt me. And oh, yeah. Okay. But again, this is something that is going to build up very powerfully with time. 2 extra chances to refresh. Character level +2 or random food card. Go with the Dunyarzad. If energy is full... Oh, that's evil in a good way. If we can get you extra energy... Probably. Maybe. Extra action +1. For a devastating alpha strike. It's hard to say, though. Hard to say. I guess we can try that. I just really don't want that specifically. Okay. Don't want to do changing shifts. I guess this is fine for what it is. It's nowhere near ideal. But it's gonna take a bit to get that online. Okay. We're gonna see how well this works. Charged. Oh, I really don't like that Black Kite's Enigma. Okay. Took some good damage, but still. Ouch. Ouch. And oh, that switch was nasty. We got a kill. We're still going to lose this round. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's just, if Sethos can get that burst up reliably, he becomes very strong. Hello, welcome back. It's good to see you. After your other characters use elemental burst, gains 1 energy. What we really want is the Kabuto. I just don't want... We can level you up, but beyond that, it's a question of food. I'm doing the auto mode, which is pain, as you can probably tell. Anything with the Yunkusor King has the ability to snowball to a hilarious degree, but it requires a degree of survival that is not always manageable. as you can probably see. What the hell? Okay. Yeah, Sethos is not good. Or at the very least, I'm not getting anything that's going to make him work. Because Sethos needs to be able to actually unleash his burst to be able to be useful. I did not get lucky enough to get anything that could be meaningful used with him. How are you doing? I'm suffering. Yeah. I do wonder how the auto mode meta may have changed from the last time auto mode was around. I guess we'll see. But the main thing is that the last time I did it, the best way to run it was, hilariously enough, to stick with only 2 cards through the entirety of the series of matches, and then base your strategy pretty much entirely on making those 2 cards strong. And the best options were, what I managed to make work was Dori and the Gluttonous Yum-Kasor King. Because the Yum-Kasor King has a similar gimmick in the normal TCG, but it's nowhere near as strong. The ability to just snowball HP from any kind of food used, which gives him hilarious levels of longevity. And he also has a hilariously overpowered burst that deals 3 times his damage, his attack power in pyro damage, which allows him to react with himself and his own Dendro for 1, and is also just generally very strong. But generally you're supposed to try to put something close to an actual team comp together. The Consecrated Beasts also have unique synergy in that they can all make use of these Bone Crunchers blocks, but the big thing is that it's limited to hand size. So you can only have up to 10 maximum between matches, and it's going to stop other cards from being drawn if you've got too many. And beyond that, it's the food that the Yum-Kasor King uses theoretically has no limit. So it's a good deal better for the same thing. But it's also just, auto mode is so different from normal TCG, which itself is very different from the normal game, that it is almost more worth it to just gamble and try to just reset the initial seed, which you cannot do without starting a series of matches, which is awesome, until you end up getting Yum-Kasor King and somebody usable with him, which of course, every time they put auto mode out, they add more cards, and therefore dilutes the pool and makes it more difficult to get the Yum-Kasor King, and really just put anything akin to an actual card deck together, which is unpleasant. Wonder why it was showing me as a 2 that time. Regardless. Okay. Come on, we got the Yum-Kasor King and we got Dori. I think they incentivize some sort of package deal type deal, probably. I guess we'll see. And yeah, we got to rank up on the King. We should want to get that as soon as possible, and we're just going to stack HP. It's hard to get much better than that. And we're just going to go HP. We could go for the artifact training, actually, which gonna want to keep the artifact card. That has the ability to snowball. Anything with the ability to snowball is something we want to take for sure for obvious reasons. We're gonna get frozen. That is okay, I guess. Because it doesn't actually freeze me for real. So it's fine enough. Okay. Ouch, kinda. Got a burst ready again. Oh, that's not fun. Alright. Okay. Yeah, I was not intending to win the first one. That is fine. That is fine. Thunder and Eternity, I don't care for that. Takes the field, character level 1, energy +2. This would be good because Dori has a very strong burst. I think this is good. That would be, but it is 2 energy. Yeah. None of those are especially good. I don't want Sino. Let's... Round ends. We'll take this. Mushroom pizza on you. Take the capricious visage and just discard it to give you more HP. Nice. This is what I like to see. It's Gluttonous Rex as well, and guess who got more HP? Very, very nice. And yeah, we're going full HP focus, and we are managing to... Ouch! But we will be able to get Dory's summon up. We should. Ideally, yep, and this will help heal and buff you. Okay. That said, don't need as much of that. This is going to be death for you. Oh, ouch. Ouch. This should kill you out. It didn't? Okay, that was unpleasant. Do have a good amount of durability, but even still. Should, and we did get the overload. Oh, and the fact that Dory Burst did not actually... Well, whatever. I don't like that. I really don't. Well, let's see who gets healed. And, well, that was another death. Okay. We can reduce what we need to get somebody's burst up. Those are very good artifacts. Shield +4, and that's a strong one too. I don't care for summons. We really don't. Emblem. It's not very good either. Could use that for HP training, I guess. It's a level. Attack EM is not that good. Sure, we're gonna go for artifact training. Yep. And this is called snowballing. Okay. Character level and energy up. Should be very close, and this, I think we're in a good position now. It's a very strong Guoba. Okay. Definitely want to get some reduction in. Can it... Axe charges are in the end phase and give them energy. Healing there, and finally we're getting this to work. This should also mean we can start, by the way of getting kills as the Yunkasaur King, start accumulating Saurus Crackers, which is even better. 1-star Suns or a random field card. Okay. Lowest character level. 1 extra action, but we're not using Mondstadt. Sashimi Platter is okay, but I think we're just going to keep using the artifact training. Target character gains 1 energy. We're going to go for the Scoured Pride, but what we really want is the Ornate Kabuto. I guess that's fine. This is still going to work out in a way that will keep you around. You're strong enough, but honest to goodness, it is maybe okay for Dory to kind of just die. Let's go for the artifact training. Just maximize the amount of kills that we're going to get from you. Okay, that wasn't too crazy. Okay. It's going to see how much damage you're taking. Navia can be good because she discards cards to snipe. But still, oh, okay. We're going to see how this goes. That didn't kill. Okay. This does get this ready, which is good. We are now in this phase and should be boosting ourselves. And, oh my goodness. War has changed. Okay. Yeah, without the ability to reduce, I think they've probably changed how this works to make it actually be good at make you want to put a team together. I feel a whole lot weaker using this duo. I get the impression that it is not The meta's shifted somehow, but I can't quite get my head around it. Around what I specifically need to be doing. Regardless. Let me check something. I want to see if I can steal some teams for this to get platinum. People are running Nuve and the Inkpasaur King. Does that make sense? You can use Burgeon. I think it's harder this time around. Inkpasaur King is still strong, and so is Nuve. So I wonder what their strat was. Burst up on Team 1. Okay. Want to endure. Alright. Ineffa deck is also really strong too. Burst. It's totally got weaker. And Varsa got buffed from this one. Furina got more HP. Interesting. Okay. It's still... Sora, Sucrose, Eula. But you're not even playing against real characters in this. It is entirely just a matter about... Let me see. You're playing against their decks. And so the bots exist so they can farm out any kind of decks from other players, of course. Let me see if someone has gotten plats on this. Otherwise, I might need to God forfend to actually try to figure out a deck to use myself. And I would hate that so much. Oh, great. Oh, great. 6.1 TCG. TCG. Platinum. Oh, Endless Swarm. Endless Swarm. So what are people doing? Yeah. Steal somebody's deck. Charge attack. Oh! I think it's Farazan. Okay, I see. Makes sense. Swirling and Cryo Swirl. Sucrose and Wanderer. Or we can use Wanderer just to be fun. Playing cards, Nuviet and Marchase. Then an Emily deck. Summons. I see, I see. Okay. Emily with strong stacks is really, really good, I'd imagine, too. Okay, time to steal some people's decks. Ain't a huge deal. Decisive Strike. Okay. Here we are. Okay. See how well this is gonna go. Wanted to put the official swirling. Okay. All right. Okay. Very much about Farazan swirl. Understandable. These are okay. Went for that Kaza one, so I guess we could save that. Cassava is good. Discard the maximum. I mean, this is mostly just about making this easier. Well, I actually got rid of the Cassava, which is probably pretty good, actually. Put you in. Let's see about switching to Farazan. Okay. So, gonna wanna change some of this out. Probably. This is decent. I don't really see myself using you much, actually. Cool. And that's going to be Geo. Huh. Oh, that's going to pop the transformer at the exact wrong time. Well, whatever. Ugh. Yeah, that was a really bad way to start that off. Okay, I just want to see. I could put something together myself if I really wanted to. It's probably better off to just go with Farzan anyway. Still. If you haven't played any action cards this round. Okay. Ew. Ew. Okay. Are going to need to do some conversion, huh? Not fun. Okay. One of them. See how well this goes. Can keep on swirling, which is exciting. One fewer unaligned element. Now we're just going to need to convert this. And that is a death. Very nice. Alright. Use your Raging Breath. It's an Animo die. That's good. And I guess it is time to put down Farazan's Burst, I suppose. Could play this, we could also just use that. Okay, there we go. That is exciting. Anything to use to swirl. And this is a good opportunity to actually put Oz down. Okay. Cool. And that's just plain old damage. Alright. It would be nice to go with it. I haven't lost yet, maybe. We'll see. But of course, we can't do any real tuning now. And that's also just gone. Don't have cards anymore. Maximum of 2. Rough. Quite rough. It's kind of unpleasant, I will say. Yeah, Cassava is... Oops. It's kind of straight ass. Okay. Alright. Okay. I would honestly be better off actually putting my own deck together at this point, I think. Because Cassava is a wasted slot that actively makes things worse. That is rather bothersome. Okay. Is one of them down? But it's just, what are you going to discard? And we lost it because it killed off of... Oh, just... Who could we actually use for a charge attack worth a damn? Nobody, maybe. Okay. We could go for the Kazuha Plunge. And the Kusava killed the other Kusava. Okay. Can actually go for the Kaza Slash. That is exciting. Might be good to try something with Varasa, maybe. I don't really know. I think this will probably still work in a silly kind of way, but still. Alright, there you go. It's still working, just because it's not that difficult here. Okay. If one of us dies, I guess we'll see. And fast action instead of a combat action. This will kill. Yep, exactly. Should be dice. Yep. I guess we could maybe go for another Kazuha Slash. Probably not. It would not be an especially good idea. I mean, in the end, these ones are simply just not that difficult. So, I guess we can just hit you with a normal attack. Cool. Kinda. Alright. When it's on the field. And of course, it's not an Animo summon anymore. Oops. Oops. That'd be good for the collected dice, but we don't have it. Just, whenever they put in anything with any enemy with inherent element to swirl off of, it does make it way easier. So, okay, that's fun. Momiji. That is just an Electro Swirl, and we've already got enough for a Platinum. We don't even need to kill anyone. Nobody more, at least. Okay. You're dead. Okay. And we can't even get anything more off. It's... You know, not to complain about the value of stolen goods, but if they're using Traveler's Handy Sword, which is maybe worse than no weapon at all, I don't know. I'll be nice. Maybe. Kind of. Merciless Hail for freezing. And they got Satoli out very, very fast. They used Varzon, and they started with Skara, which is interesting. Presume they're trying to pivot to Satoleli. I mean, it's not a strict enough fight where I'd actually have to care about a precise order, really. Probably. Okay. Also, apparently, again, the best combination is actually Nuve and the Yunkasor King. Let me see. What is it with them and Kusava? Regardless. And that... It's 2 usages, so you don't have to worry too much. Interesting. But either way... Can't get its Papa up without... Okay. And 1 Night Soul points without its Papa. Okay. Is that going to put you into a Night Soul's Blessing? No, only if it's actively active. Alright. Okay. Just get Hanaga ready. Omni Element via Frozen. So we can use this to get our blessing going. She is a character who benefits from triggering freeze. Chotto nani? Only if you can gain the points. So I guess we are going to have to do a bit of conversion. And wow, this is terrible. Okay. So, Don't want to run that again. That may be useful. It's not amazing or award-winning, but it's decent. And that, what do you know? We're getting our Night Soul together. Gonna need to convert one of these. Yeah, it could be good. There's another one in the deck, so it's not a huge worry. Alright. And then we can start swirling. Presumably. That's a freeze, too. Oh, now we're out of hydro. That's unpleasant. Oops. Oops. Okay, well, actually, let's see how best this is done. It's to trigger a reaction, or probably good to put Farazan down. I mean, I don't entirely know what this deck's game plan is, and I'm a little sleep deprived, but that's okay. I think that's okay. You can pilot everything without too much issue, I think, and trigger some reactions to get Satwali's Night Soul's Blessing going, which is very exciting. I'm gonna deal some animo damage and summon a dazzling polyhedron. Switch out to you and not get beaten up. Okay. Ouch. Don't die. And that's a freeze! And it's hitting the Cryo Slime because he targets the opposing character. Yep. Yep. What do you know? I guess it'd be good to just refresh that to spread element. And next round we can just put its Papa back on field. Cool. That is fine by me. Or actually, I could literally just freeze them after using Scar's Burst. I don't think that's necessary. Oh, that sucked. That happened at a very unfortunate time. But kind of wasted those dice. We'll see. No Hydro needed. It's just Animo and Cryo and nothing else. Okay. Alright. I think can switch to you. Use your polyhedron and kill you. Yeah, this is a pretty well put together one. I'm happy with how this is going. However, and this would be a good time to put down 2 Vanaranas, actually. Oh, Junbi Kantanya. This is going to swirl the Hydro on all of them, which is even better. Actually, I'm going to do that, which is even better. I think Farazan is probably going to die here. But still. Oh, and this... we have to use Cassava to get that down. That sucked. Okay. That's fine. And we've already used her Songs of Profound Mystery. No more from regenerating reactions. But yeah, this is not a hard one. That's fine. Okay. Just anything for swirl. This is definitely gonna kill. Okay. Sorry, Zon. It really hurts. I really like Farazan a lot, so... you have no idea how much this hurts me. Well, it didn't kill. That's even weirder. We'll see. Ooh, okay. In that case, we can just switch back to you. Take you out right here. That may be... I mean, it's gonna get used either way. It would actually be better to use Wind Favorite, probably. The burst is overkill for everything, really, here. Actually, Songs of Brown-Found Mystery would have went a little differently that way. Alright. Alright. This will eliminate you instantly. It's probably decent. Okay. No, that's... No more frozen, huh? That's unfortunate. We can hit you like this. And maybe trigger a frozen at end of round if a... Yep, a Cryo Slime bothered to show up. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Should also honestly switch to Satwali. Shield is gonna come. Yep. Gives us a little bit more. That should be one more round, and we're already doing great. No, okay, that was the end of it. This was not trouble at all. Swift as the waves. They went for a Nuvi Fury deck. Okay. How did they try to handle this? Play a lot of cards. Action card. One Omni die. Eremite Tea Time. What did I just do? Okay. Alright. Let's go on to the next. This should be another. We're going to want to switch that deck again. Now, as long as Hoyo Lab exists, there will always be people who allow their decks to be stolen for views on a site basically nobody uses. And that makes me very happy. It's quite useful for me. I want fewer elemental die. I want to use that Marchusi. Okay. 3 times per round. Eremite Tea Time. Interesting. Who do they start with? I don't really use Nuve that much, if at all. Started with Nuve. Okay. This is decent for what it is. Eremite Tea Time. Select. Just use his skill. Interesting. It should not be a huge deal. Yeah, but the talent card they had. Okay. Well, we'll see how this goes, and then how we'll get Furina's up. Maybe. Maybe. If we can, that is enough to use a normal on him. 1 additional energy once per round, so that makes it very easy to get that up for her. Same elemental type, same weapon, and same faction. So this just allows us to add a bunch of cards. Kaz is just there to be a second sword character, but UV Fury literally does most of this on it, 2/3 of it on its own, which is funny. Okay. That's fine. That is quite strong. Is even. Huh. Total number. What if you were unaligned element? Strong. No more than 2. Shinju is good. Sea Dispensary is good. Featherfan is okay. Draw 1 card, and that is pretty nice. That encourages, but this is good for now too. Yeah, technique, we don't use techniques. It's so busted for this team. It's not even funny. Okay, 4th trigger. This is good on you. And you know what? You know what? We'll see. 2 additional damage. Once per round, we'll give you the tome. Let's just play a bunch. I am totally fine with this. Okay. Play that. It's going to make it even. We could use that with the normal, actually. Don't have the skill, but it should be fine for... No, okay. Alright. I guess... Could use that... Can use that right now. And now we can use it for fewer. Very exciting. Deals 1, we're going to use that source water droplet. Got healed. Well, prepare skill. Very, very nice. Ouch. It's just, did you know Nuvi Fury is a thing? We could switch to Fiorina now, actually. Yeah. Just put the skill up and put that down. Oh, you're gonna take some damage. I don't like that corrosion. Don't like that one bit. But, it's gonna be real nice to put that Eremite tea time down. Okay. This makes hilariously good use of it. Oh, ouch. Okay. We're gonna need some healing food on Fiorina. Fiorina. Tension collective at plenty. I guess that's decent. Uga. Oh, I saw you follow a long, long time ago. I get the impression you know who this is. Maybe. Or maybe you just saw someone on your friend list. Maybe. But I'm having some fun. I'm just doing TCG in the game that I know you've played at least once. Understandable. Wait, what? Okay. Do you? You don't have to make it public. But either way, it's nice to see you. How are you doing? How's life? Yeah, ghosts from my past. Ghosts from my past. Okay. Treasure clue, treasure clue. It's just, all of these are going to go down. I mean, I can use them to tune, but that's about it. 1 fewer elemental die. I guess we got, I appreciate, oh! How is that? Is it nice there? Graduated. What did you study again? I did hear about that too, so congratulations. What are you doing for a living, if that's not too private? This is just a hobby for me. I do unfortunately have a day job. And it's 1 fewer elemental die, and we need to make sure Fiorina does not actually... Could we survive a... Yeah, it's not going to take me out outright. Once per round, and this just makes her burst come up pretty much immediately, which is quite nice. 6 HP. That uses the whole team. Oh, Schwab. That's quite exciting. We're gonna need to use the burst. I'm worried about that duration. 1 stack of Revelry. I mean, we will be taking damage and getting healed, so that might not be so bad, but regardless. So I guess we're just using all of this to tune, which is not entirely surprising. We're never going to need to switch her to Numa, so we'll just use it that way. Okay, cool. Equivalent to personal finance. That's suggestive. But regardless. Well, it is nice to hear that you are moving up in the world in some sense. Glad to hear you are doing well where you are. Rent is expensive, so we should use this to switch. Do I want that as a fast action, or... And what is it? What is the long cringy name? That made it die. It's a Hydro die, at least. Decent with money. I studied economics and a few other things, so I'm supposed to be decent with money. Whether that materialized is another question entirely. Yeah, I mean, it's a relatively nice place to live as compared to, God forfend, Indiana, so... For better or worse, I cannot say I am particularly surprised, but if you're managing to make it work, all the more power to you. There are various reasons that I stayed where I am, and one of them really is just rent. Let us use some of that. I really don't want Noof to die, and that would suck. Oh, and we didn't get the Eremite Teep Tom because our inventory was too full. That was a bad way to go. Yeah, I don't disbelieve you. But again, it's... In a certain sense, you get what you pay for, if you catch my drift. You lose and gain for understandable reasons. I guess we'll see how much we can get rid of. Shinju Forest is going to go down. We need to clear out our inventory just so we can get rid of... So we can get Eremite Tea Time. I didn't even think about my inventory being too full to use it. But I'm going to need to just clear things out. Yeah. We're tuning just to clear up. That is hilarious. There's just... The real thing that sucks about a lot of TCG challenge matches is the ones that fill up your side, where the gimmick fills up your side. Sometimes they put it on the other side. And I'm sure they do that in least part as balance, but it is still not especially fun. I mean, that's because they're meaner about it. I would not say that's necessarily for entirely pleasant reasons, but regardless. I mean, make your own decision on what to make of it. So got one round left. We definitely should be able to eliminate them. Probably. I need to switch, and he's got his burst ready. We're going to need to switch out to this. It is a fun game. I play it because I do, in fact, enjoy it. But I will confess that part of the reason I'm able to enjoy it is because I do actually... Well, I've actually got... We can use the burst now. That's exciting. Just get that down. Sure. But it... As you can see, we got a discount on action cards. So I'm just trying to find things to use. Next up, I guess, just to stack up more. As you can see, we've got a card that also keeps dice. And I don't know if you've ever played the TCG. Yeah, I have friends who have gone there, and it's an interesting place, for sure. It's definitely not for everybody. Well, the Paimon card is kind of free dice here, but it's a matter of getting it. I stole somebody's deck for this, and one of the card that you get a free one of these, and the deck that I stole is basically built around... It has two of the same type. It's got Nuvia and Furina, two of the same faction, Nuvia and Furina, and then it's Furina and Kaz that have two sword characters, and I have not put him on field. I have not had to put him on field. I guess we'll play this for more element, but yeah, that gets us to 12. Yeah. It's fun, but if you don't really care for the PvP, and I don't particularly care for the PvP, it isn't exactly everybody's cup of tea. Also, this whole select deal is a funny gimmick where some characters, and it's actually just Sitwali, get special gimmicks when you use a select, but it's barely any. When was the last time you did play? Because you said you haven't played in a while, but it is nice to see you. What I'm doing right now is I'm training people to basically work at call center stuff. I am a trainer for people who take calls, and it recently got outsourced. And they're using technology to disguise the fact that it did not get out, that it got outsourced. So that's funny. It's amusing. Oh, that's longer than I expected. Don't say its name. This is confidential. I am more concerned. You know how to reach me. I mean, you could DM me on my business Discord if you really wanted to know. But I'm definitely not your boss. I'm definitely not your boss, but I have nothing to do with Schwab. I will say that much. A denial is better than a confirmation, but I mean, we're just gonna use this to tune. None of this is... we'll see. We got way more Chussi, but it's gonna... This is how we're gonna get even dice, and there's no way this is not enough to just kill them all. Okay. We don't need you anymore. Let's get rid of that. I guess we can play the Mystique Soup on you. This gets us to where we want to be. Thanks. Yeah, ask if they're me. I'm sure that'll go great. Who can I take out? Honestly, I would probably be better off mitigating damage than increasing my damage. Oh, I can't see their actions right now. Oh, whatever. Stupid. One thing is, you played during Fontaine. I think you did, probably. And the fact that her fanfare works this way, where it's just instances of taking damage and healing, that is a sign to me, especially since Marchese works kind of similar. You know how Fiorina works, right? And the fact that she's percentile. The thing about that is that... Oh, no, it's multiple. Oops. The thing about that being how it works is that it gives her really, really bad anti-synergy with Dia. Because Dia does damage reduction, meaning that the damage and healing, the damage you're getting is not filling up Fiorina's stacks as well. Well, I did do speech and debate, and to be totally honest, I think if anything really prepared me for it, it was that, for better or worse. It is very funny, and I guess it's worth it to just get rid of this card, but there are no reactions coming out anymore. Yes, this would be why you use Kaza, but I didn't really use Kaza. Okay, cool. But all we need to do is get one more kill, I believe. You need to hit a score of 4,500 in order to get a plat in this mode, so... Yeah, she boosts damage based off of percentage HP change compared to max, either by damage or by healing. So she pairs well with Fontaine characters who mostly have inherent HP change in their kit, like Linny and Nuviet and Rithesli. Though Rithesli at the time kind of wanted to use Burn, which was weird, but with Escoffier, who came out as a not one character in the not one patch cycle, Fontaine character, strong Hydro support, Hydro and Cryo support, oriented towards freeze teams, not necessarily freeze, but just Cryo and Hydro together, really made Rithesli kind of want to use Fiorina again. It is very, well, Fiorina for the first time after mostly being a reverse melt focused Cryo character, which was interesting. Yeah, she has very good synergy, which is very cute. If you're someone who thinks Nuvi Fury is a good ship, and... yeah, I enjoy Navia significantly. Did you roll on Shilinen? Maybe for Navia's sake? Because yeah. Only not one. Shilinen is strong with... I remember, last time I used Navia was when Shilinen was working, when being shilled, and Abyss and similar game modes wanted her to be used, because Navia, Shilinen, and Bennett Fischl specifically is a pretty strong team. Yeah, exactly. Numerical superiority, but the funny thing about it is that Escoffier basically got added because there wasn't really Yuri for Fiorina besides Arlecchino, and of course that is rather unpleasant for people. Yeah. Oh, so you run Shionen, Kaza, Fiorina, Nuviet. I ran that team a good amount of time. The best Nuviet team right now, well, it might actually be the best Nuv teams now, because number creep has gotten strong, and Nuv is actually best used in teams where his Hydro application is actually useful as well, instead of just basically being a Hydro damage blue physical hyper carry, which is actually pretty fun. But Ineffa, who came out, well, of course it's not in the Bible. Genshin is based off of Gnosticism, but they added a modified version of Electrocharge and Bloom, as you may or may not have seen. Ineffa is one of the characters who enabled it. Ineffa, Fiorina, and Shionen and Nuviet is the best team for Nuv right now, I believe. And, well, Fiorina's story is basically French girl Jesus. But the lore of the entire Tevat setting is mostly Gnosticism. It's a lot of things together. I mean, if you're going to say Book of Enoch is generally considered to be Gnostic. And she can walk on water. Her kit doesn't really describe it as an exploration gimmick, but it is nice. Especially because it is usable outside of yeah, the Ars Goetia, which, you know, the real question about the Ars Goetia well, for one, they probably did that because they're Fate fans, and the Ars Goetia was pretty important in Fate too. But also the fact that, unfortunately, I do know that. But whether Osei is meant to be Osial, Oz, both neither, okay, here's my question. If you know enough about lore, here's the hot take. Was the Thunderbird the Electro Sovereign? That's my question. Was the Thunderbird the Electro Sovereign? Because given that, a lot of them are somewhat reptilian, based on some kind of reptile, lizard, dragon, snake for OPEP specifically. Birds are the only living dinosaurs. They are the closest living relatives of dinosaurs. So it would make sense, especially considering that otherwise, the Electro Sovereign is the only one we don't have a candidate so far, and I'm sorry. You know, there is no way that Orobashi / Orobas, that's a Goetic, Geishic, whatever, inspiration, is the Electro Sovereign. You know, but regardless. The Ziz, I mean, by the name, you could also argue it's based off of, I believe it's Navajo. That's the Navajo Thunderbird. Or maybe it's named after the Thunderbird, which is the penultimate boss of Zelda 2, Adventure of Link, which is one of the few Zelda games I have not finished. It's that and Spirit Tracks in terms of mainline ones, actually. Yeah, it's just that and Spirit Tracks. I mean, I beat Tears of the Kingdom, technically, in the sense of I beat 2 shrines and then beeline straight to Ganondorf, which was honestly probably the most fun way to play it, because it meant that I had to do a 6 boss rush after a horde battle before Ganondorf, which was the only time the game would ever be even remotely challenging. You know, I can believe that one. We have honestly gotten closer to having cars in this game than we've gotten to having real horses, which is still hilarious. The real question, honestly, is, do you keep track of weeks at all? Have you kept track of... Oh, goodness. Have you heard about the buffs that they're doing to a bunch of Mondstadt characters next patch? Because they are very, very interesting. They're very, very exciting. The big thing is that they're getting a faction buff similar to not a lot of Nod-Krai characters have, where they get stronger, get some minor or major buffs when you've got multiple characters in the faction on field, and beyond that, understandable. But beyond, basically, Razor, as of next patch 6.2, is going to be a better Electro DPS than Raiden. Yes, Electro. Even though half of his damage and burst is still physical because he doesn't inherently infuse. It does also mean you can actually pull some funny gimmick comps by running him with Bennett C6 so that you can infuse him with Pyro and actually get good damage on the Pyro portion. Yeah. Razor is getting... Basically, when you run him with select other Mondstadt characters, it's a Hexen Circle faction, so it's characters who are associated with the witches. He is really good. Well, it's not for the damage itself. It's actually... Do you remember Chevreuse in Fontaine? It's really for running with Chevy. Basically, pure reaction damage is okay, but not that great. The main thing you would be getting out of it is... I don't really know either how he's associated with the witches. Sucrose is there too. I guess because she's friends with Albedo, kinda? For Razor, it's just he's friends with Kui, who is Alice's daughter. It's loose. It's an answer in search of a question, which I'm fine with because it's good that they're adding real buffs. They also added, if you joined, and, you know, I cannot in good conscience recommend it for a number of reasons, but for better or worse, they added a way to get free cons for characters you already have if you have consistent logins, which is very cool. Yeah, Sucrose Albedo affiliation, because they're both part of the Knights Alchemists, but that raised the question of, okay, why not a Knights faction, which is presumably coming later. But beyond and on top of that, and oh goodness, gonna have to do a bit of tuning, huh? Yeah, okay. Ain't too bad. Ain't too bad. Okay. Let me just see. Gonna use that. Presumably Diluc would be in the Knights faction, which is funny, despite his vehement disavowal. Because, you know, what else would it be? So no, the game plan is basically switch to Linny, and then keep your summons refreshed. That's reasonable. It's actually pretty cool that we're getting 2 prop arrows off of this. Well, I don't presume we're ever getting any non-faction related buffs to characters, especially because it fits more with the way the game's design has worked these days, where, yes, and I'm not kidding, the Archon Quest, which I'm doing tomorrow, deals with themes of genocide. Like the Conrians, they have a lot of funny Wagner basis for a reason, and it's because they actually are meant to be fantasy Nazi Germany. Kind of like Eren, kinda. But the boss, who was actually going to become the second weekly boss, they're pulling in Inazuma. Because with Inazuma, we fought both Senora and Raiden during the quest, and then they, with some modifications for Raiden, became the 2 weekly bosses. But good artist borrow and great artist steal, what can I say? But to be fair, a lot of it is also a sort of... Not all the Conrians really knew what was going on. The whole deal is that the sinners, like Reindodir, Surdologi, who was Skirk's master, and so Tartaglia's master's master, and then Vedder who is Dainsleep's brother. He was that's the name on the big chained up rock sinner from that one Karabert quest, if you did that one, remember it. And then there was Hroptatir, who we've not seen... Yeah, exactly. Basically. Yeah, Rerir, it's... If you know the movie Zone of Interest, it's basically that. He becomes the instrument of a genocide and doesn't really care about it because he's able to preserve his normal life. And that's what it's all about, which is pretty interesting, honestly. But... Oh, goodness. How am I going to get burning on these? Oh, whatever. No, we still haven't. We still also don't know what's going on with the burning Irminsul from the Sumeru trailer. People thought that was symbolic, but it was explicitly stated that that's actually a preview of future events, which is interesting, I suppose. But regardless, let me check something. It might actually be good to... Can we... Does it specify a max? I don't know if... Because this is a summon. I don't know if we could get uses by saving this card to get the summon usage boost. I get the impression it's a known. We should just go for Linny, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a big old game. Big old game. Oh, Lord. What do I want to do? I guess it'd be good to make this slightly cheaper, but I guess we could do a totally pointless physical normal. Kinda. And then try to see if we can increase the stacks from her Lumadusa case, which would be very, very strong. But Dottore is showing up next patch, it is said. We will see how true that is in practice, but Dottore is supposed to be, spoiler warning, the first weekly boss, Rerir, who we fight, who is, again, basically, literally Fantasy Rudolph Hess, is a boss in this patch with very fleshed out mechanics, apparently, who is apparently going to be the second weekly boss. He gets thrown into a portal, but that's not the end of him, so he's probably coming back. Yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, I'm not going to say much more. But people have had a lot of high praise about Notlan's storyline, just in general. Which is pretty darn cool. I mean, not Notlan, Nod-Krai. Notlan has been panned and controversial. Unfortunately. For better or worse. But people have generally had nothing but good things to say about Nod-Krai. It's been well put together, decently mature. It's pretty cool. It's more damage than we really need. I guess we could let Arla just do some hits. Really? Whatever. Alright. Arla is very interesting in TCG and very strong in her niche. Because the main thing is that since everything in TCG is mirrored and reciprocal, she actually has the ability to inflict Bond of Life upon enemies, which is otherwise, of course, a totally player-only mechanic. Yeah. But what I will say is that to compensate for the fact that Hoyo has 3, 4, 5 billion games now, they are very much tightening the screws on the game, so to speak. It's become a good deal more necessary to spend to keep up with endgame content. If you're just playing the game normally, that's not an issue in the same way. I mean, I don't really have expenses right now because I don't really have expenses right now. Yeah, ZZZ, its gameplay looks very interesting and enjoyable because it's very action-focused. But it does target a very specific and niche audience. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying here. And on top of that, it's also just a fundamentally different kind of game. For better or worse. It doesn't have an open world. That's not its focus. The reason I don't have expenses is because I'm living at home to save up money to buy a house outright because I work from home so I don't have to worry about location. And I can just buy a house directly without having to worry about rent. Because renting in this economy is a total death trap. It is what it is. But it was probably the smartest way to handle things. Yeah, there's a tax auction going on right now, and that was good damage. Is that enough for a? I don't think that's enough for a platinum. No, that should be because of the piercing damage. I mean, that's how the world's going right now. Self-sufficient living might be ideal, but I'm not the kind of person. I don't do anything that would really require living at home. Yeah, what I will say is that as an economics major, well, the thing about lowering rates is that if you lower rates while inflation is already high, when you're already running the economy hot, that decreases the ability to use what's basically inflationary monetary policy. I mean, the main thing is that, I mean, I'm going to be even-handed here and say tariffs can work. The issue is that you have to do the tariffs after you've already built your industrial capacity. If you do the tariffs before you've built manufacturing capacity, you have shot yourself in the foot. You know, they're trying to do a China, but they're not smart enough to do a China. That's the problem, is that the way you run that kind of, frankly, nationalist economic policy is you use foreign investment until foreign investment stops being useful, but you don't kill it off for purely ideological reasons. You use it when it's useful, and then, well, that's the thing, is that if you want to do a China, you have to be willing to say, okay, let's be a command economy. You know, if you're going to try an imperial presidency, you can at least commit to that instead of doing kleptocracy. The issue is that it's kleptocracy pretending to be pulling a China. If it was actually pulling a China, I would have respect for that. But that's not what they're doing, because that's not what they wanted to do in the first place. Because what China did, their economic policy throughout the 90s and early 2000s was doing everything they could to attract foreign direct investment, people betting, well, potentially, it's a matter of approach. It's a matter of circumstance. The main thing is that the problem is that tariffs can't make a country money. Tariffs work as a way to encourage domestic buying, but in the end, what it is, it's a tax on the consumer. The consumer pays the tariff. And that can work in context if you've got sufficiently high quality domestic product and service or sufficiently comparable that they can say, okay, the difference is negligible or zero to the point that choosing the domestic product is good enough. But at this point, what you're getting is people saying the domestic product still sucks and it's going to suck for the next few years. I still gotta buy the foreign stuff, but it's going to be more expensive. It's deadweight loss. That's the economic term. The issue is, if you want to be smart about running tariffs, you attract foreign direct investment, you milk them for all it's worth, you build up your industrial capacity using their money, and you tell them get out. That's what China did. It's mean policy, but it's smart policy. But that's not what they did, because they weren't pulling a China. They were doing kleptocracy and pretending to be a China to fool people. Which hello, how you doing? I was actually just about to kind of hop off, because I got finished with what I was about to do, but it is nice to see you. How is life? I guess I gotta do this TCG tomorrow. Isn't that great? Let me just see. Is there anybody I'd like to pick up a skin for? I think I'll save that until I figure out what the good decks for this version are. Yeah, but the main issue is that it's about it's about the ideological tack. And, you remember, I think it was Samsung, might have been, it was the Hyundai raid, where a bunch of people who were there legally, literally to set up the jobs, still got chained up, and now Hyundai doesn't want anything to do with us anymore. Because it's not about any kind of protection. It is literally, it's lumpen proletariat getting angry at, not to be elitist. I don't want to say betters, but it's not protectionism as protectionism. It's protectionism as the expression of lumpen proletariat ideology and, nativist in the purest sense, and not even in the sense of protecting industry. It's just cutting off the nose to spite the face again and again and again. I have respect for, centralized protectionist policy, but the reason it's not working out is because it's being done for reasons that are totally separate, that are purely ideological in nature. And that influences the approach, that influences the action, because it's not a matter of trying to encourage domestic industry. It's just being angry that foreigners exist. Those are two very, very different things. One is rational, and one is frankly sound economic policy if done right. And the other, because it's part of how China is actually the only relevant economy in the world today. And the other is just national suicide on a faster, slow scale. I don't hate you. I don't hate you at all. I don't hate anyone, really. I mean, I dislike stupid people, maybe, sometimes, in a way that's mostly about pity. Yeah, I'd like to be even-handed here, but it's... I mean, it's the same thing as what was going on a couple years ago. It depends on what your measure of an economy is. If your measure is the production of real goods and industry, it's doing great. If your measure is purely based on GDP and financials, well, it may have been previously, but the issue is that the hilarious level of ethno-nationalist resentment that's going on right now is changing that around. A lot of people who had moved to the United States from China are moving back because it's becoming a hostile environment for reasons that aren't even about security. It's just pure ethno-narcissist resentment. And that's why it's national suicide. I mean, it's the people in charge. There's a reason they talk about Hungary. They want a poorer, dumber country if it can become a wider country. And to be fair, they don't anticipate their quality of life getting worse because it's purely kleptocratic. But they've run the calculation and said, though to be fair, Theo is in there too, and he probably is just going to have Boston Dynamics robot dogs shoot us all in our homes. But they are anticipating that they control or tolerate a much poorer and weaker country. In part, some of them are doing it because they're ethno-nationalist ideologues. Some are doing it because they're Peter Thiel Silicon Valley types who literally want to depopulate the United States because automation has gotten to the point where having an actual population is no longer an asset but a threat. So they're trying to just kill us all off, and I'm not joking. That is what Thiel's goal is. I mean, more power to him, I guess, but that's what his goal is. But if you're talking about the housing market in China, what's happening is that they're deliberately deflating a house price bubble. House prices only ever go up in America, but that's exactly why things are so unaffordable. That's why policy is always so stupid, because it's boomers whose entire net worth is tied up in housing as an asset compared to everyone else who wants to actually buy a house. And since their entire retirement is based on reverse mortgaging or otherwise just having house prices continue to increase, they can't deflate those without making boomers angry, and nobody is going to do that in America. Nobody is going to make boomers mad. Boomers rule us. Literally. Yeah, private equity needs to be regulated out. I will say, oh, it is very funny that Lena Khan actually managed to slip through the cracks and managed to actually do stuff last administration. That was an uncharacteristically good choice, and I'm happy at what she did. Among other things, yeah. Oh, of course, and it leveraged buyouts. Levered buyouts should be made illegal, or at the very least, if a levered buyout is done, one simple common sense piece of regulation would be that the debt, because the way that levered buyouts work is it's pure pump and dump, is that they buy it out with debt, they buy the company, they assign the debt to the company. They don't have any liability, it's pure gain, and then they sell it off and pass the debt around. They get rid of that debt by selling off the real estate and renting it back, and then the company's a husk, and then it dies. And that's what's happened to so many restaurant chains across the country. You know, if the levered buyout is not to be forbidden entirely, or at least limited on the level of margin, there should be limits to the extent that they can assign debt legally to the company they just bought. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what's so ridiculous about it. But say what you will about New York City, but I'm glad that Lena Khan has a place in that administration, at least to continue doing stuff and serve as a proof of concept for, regardless of your political affiliation, how law can be used in a, culturally neutral, economically left populist way to make things more affordable. Yeah. The main thing about it is that the only way you can really get rid of crime long term, unless your idea is literally put everyone in prison and make them a Thiel slave, which some people are fond of, namely Thiel, is you have to invest in the public. You have to invest in infrastructure. When they put up the congestion fees, the subway became noticeably safer because it was a place where people were in numbers again. So people who were there to pickpocket or otherwise be nuisances were less able to do it because people were there to watch them and stop them. If you continue to destroy the public sphere, you get a less safe public sphere. It becomes a self-reinforcing cycle in the exact opposite way that it does when you invest in the public. The problem is fundamentally just that so much of the economy is based on prison labor. You have an incentive to put people in jail and keep people in jail for reasons other than just keeping the small number of people who are kind of, frankly, unfortunately, just irreconcilably antisocial. It's punishment enough to keep them in a cage, and that's the punishment. But I think a lot of it is that the people who are in charge of, the punitive part of our society are themselves antisocial enough that they don't believe that being locked away from society is enough of a punishment in and of itself. I have heard so many people talk about how their boomer parents, their only dream is to just move to a house and never talk to another human being except for them and maybe the wife they hate. And the kid who says, "Father, I cannot click the book ever again." Well, we could talk about this later, but it's a two-step process where the congestion fees are encouraging more people to take the subway. And since sunlight is the best disinfectant, having more people on the subway is discouraging people who would otherwise do bad things on the subway from doing bad things on the subway. If you just say... It's very easy to just say it's a lack of reporting and incomplete data, but it's also the case that a purely punitive approach, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. There are different types of criminals. There are different reasons people commit crime. And you have to take a pragmatic approach. That's my hot take. Are you gonna say service guarantees citizenship? Are you gonna go Starship Troopers on us? I think it would be interesting. You know, I don't like Buttigieg, but I do think the idea of some level of mandatory civil service is a very interesting idea. You know, as long as it's not exclusively military, which incentivizes certain tendencies, it. But I think it would be nearly impossible to pass. Especially because if it was military specifically, it would probably have to be just for men. And then you turn into South Korea, where everyone hates everybody because the economy sucks, and both men and women think they're second-class citizens compared to the other, and both of them honestly have an argument, because it's, you know, every woman in South Korea has 5 men trying to take creep shots of her, but also every man in South Korea has multiple years of mandatory military service with nothing corresponding to the other direction. So it sucks for everybody. You know, you need some level of parallelism for anything like that to not just destroy society. Yeah. Again, the problem is that if you want a functional, patriotic, economic nationalist society, you're gonna have to get a little communist with it. You're gonna look like China. Some people are fine with that, some people aren't gonna be. But the fact is that we've got one model for a country that, for better or worse, is surviving, and probably in a better position to continue surviving, whether you like it or not, than pretty much any other country in the world today. Yeah. But that's the point, is that, I mean, again, part of it is also that there's a degree of humanitarian function to the American military that people are forgetting about. You know, both people who hate the military and both people who like the military. You know, the problem is that the whole USAID stuff, some of it is people who were too stupid to run an empire. Some of it was people who knew what an empire was, just didn't want to. You know, some people just wanted more people around the world to die. But when you have USAID, every box says it comes from the US people. And when the United States, I mean, beyond just the moral factor, you've ended most American positive influence in the world. What I'm going to say is that as someone who isn't particularly a fan of US hegemony, I'll say some things. Okay, legitimate. I hate the CIA. They're listening to me. I hate you. But yeah, hearts and mind stuff, beyond the humanitarian portion, it's so much American soft power that just got thrown out the window. China's getting that thing right now, and it's not even pure donation. They're doing it via investment that they're making some money off of. Infrastructure. That they're making, it's jobs for both sides, but it's jobs for them too. But the fact is that when you give someone something, when you're developing someone in some way, they're gonna like you more. Yeah, But regardless, I need to hop off. I need to do my Duolingo. I also I'll probably just go to bed and submit it tomorrow. Last day of Abyss. But it was good to see you and talk. Someone we could chat about politics with who thinks a little differently from me. So I'm on YouTube now too, if you're interested, but there's a Discord link down below if you want to find my business correspondence. But it was good to see you again and hear about how you're doing. So I think, and yeah, like I was saying, the reason we have cost stuff here, this is Lena Khan. This is all Lena Khan. Lena Khan and my Genshin. Yeah, that was Ronald. Oh, that was US Contra. Well, one way or another, yeah, what I think, my hot take is just, there are things to criticize about China, but most people in America who are criticizing China don't do it because they want China to be more democratic. They do it because they want China to not exist. I think there's a lot that we can learn from them and them to learn to us, but I think it won't happen until we there's an immense change of the guard in American government. I think that people have lost faith, an immense amount of faith. I think the dream is honestly that the Epstein files kill... To the extent that happens, I agree. To the extent that happens, I agree. But there's... it is 10 minutes to nothing. To the extent that anything can be seen about it, it's propaganda of one sort or another. I mean, most of it on the American side is coming from a guy named Adrian Zenz. Just look up Adrian Zenz. Look into what his deal is. It's very funny. But regardless, what I'll say is that in the same way that America is very different from every portion of America to every other portion of America, it's a continent-sized country in the same way. And I think to be critical of it, one has to be fair. And one has to have an eye towards its actual improvement, because most people who are in charge of all that are doing it because they want to destroy all of China and eviscerate the entire Chinese populace, including the ones that they supposedly want to save, for very cynical geopolitical reasons. There are things to criticize about every country, of course, but I think it's important to understand the context of what your criticism is, and who you end up aiding and abetting through that criticism. And I mean that in terms of criticisms of America as well. You know, it's important to always be even-handed. Yeah, I mean, that's American. I mean, it's everyone needs critics. You're never going to get improvement if everyone is just a yes man. But one way or another, it was great to talk to you and yap about politics in this godforsaken game. I am probably going to hop off now and go to sleep, because I'm going to play this in about 11 hours again, and I would like to be more slept, especially since I got a bit of a fever from being cold. Maybe I'll see you soon, maybe I won't. Enjoy your Colorado dinner. Yeah, sayonara again.